Hi guys, welcome back to Crazy 3D Official. Today's topic is Top 10 Modifiers and their powerful combos. Number 1. Array. The array modifier is a powerful tool used to create multiple copies of an object and arrange them in a linear or radial pattern. Creating copies. The core function of the array modifier is to duplicate an object a specified number of times. Patterned arrangement. It then arranges these copies in a controlled pattern, allowing you to create repetitive structures efficiently. Offset control. You have precise control over the offset between each copy, which can be relative offset, based on the object's dimensions, constant offset, a fixed distance, object offset, using the location or rotation of another object to drive the array. Versatility. This modifier is incredibly versatile and can be used to create a wide range of objects, from simple patterns to complex architectural structures. In essence, the array modifier saves you a significant amount of time and effort by automating the process of creating and arranging multiple copies of an object. Number 2. Bevel. There are two kinds of bevel in Blender. The hard bevel, where you Ctrl+B in edit mode when you select edges, but that way is permanent, meaning if you messed up, the only way is Ctrl+Z. You know how many Ctrl+Z can only get you to. The one we're talking about is the bevel modifier. The bevel modifier in Blender is a very valuable tool for smoothing the edges of 3D models. Here's a breakdown of its key features and purpose. Non-destructive beveling. Unlike beveling directly in edit mode, Ctrl+B, the bevel modifier is non-destructive. This means it adds the bevel effect without permanently altering the original geometry of your mesh. This allows you to adjust the bevel's parameters, or even remove it entirely at any time. Edge smoothing. The primary function of the bevel modifier is to create chamfered or rounded edges on your models. This adds realism by simulating how light interacts with real-world objects, which rarely have perfectly sharp edges. Control and customization. The modifier provides a range of options for controlling the bevel's appearance, including width, adjusting the size of the bevel, segments, controlling the smoothness of the bevel by adding more segments, limit method, specifying which edges to bevel based on angle, weight, or other criteria. Enhanced workflow. The non-destructive nature of the bevel modifier promotes a more flexible and efficient workflow, especially for complex models where changes may be required later. In essence, the bevel modifier is a powerful tool for adding realistic and refined edges to your 3D creations in Blender. Number 3. Boolean. Have you ever had a hard time making holes in your object with simple shapes, not to mention custom shapes? If that's the case, Boolean is the way to do it. Some may disagree with me and say Boolean is not the way to go, Boolean is messy, Boolean has a lot to do after. But not when you know what to do and how to handle the Boolean. What cases is Boolean good for, and what's not good? The Boolean modifier in Blender is a powerful tool that allows you to perform operations between two meshes. Essentially, it lets you combine, subtract, or find the intersection of 3D shapes. The Boolean modifier works by performing mathematical operations on the geometry of two or more mesh objects. Three main operations. Union. Combines the meshes into a single object, removing any overlapping geometry. Difference. Subtracts the volume of one mesh from another, creating holes or cutouts. Intersect. Keeps only the overlapping geometry between the meshes, creating complex shapes. This modifier is incredibly useful for creating complex shapes that would be difficult or time-consuming to model manually. Non-destructive. Sometimes, like other modifiers, it can be applied in a non-destructive way, meaning you can adjust or remove the effect later. However, often after a Boolean operation, users will apply the modifier, making the changes permanent. Key considerations. Topology. Boolean operations can sometimes result in messy topology, the arrangement of vertices, edges, and faces. This can lead to shading issues or problems with further modeling. Clean geometry. For best results, it's generally recommended to use clean, well-defined geometry when performing Boolean operations. In summary, the Boolean modifier is a valuable tool for quickly and efficiently creating complex 3D shapes in Blender. However, it's important to be aware of its limitations and to use it judiciously. Number 4. Mirror modifier. The Blender mirror modifier is a very useful tool for creating symmetrical 3D models. Its primary purpose is to create a mirrored copy of a mesh along one or more axes, X, Y, or Z. This significantly speeds up the modeling process for symmetrical objects, as you only need to model one half. Like most Blender modifiers, it's non-destructive. This means you can adjust or remove the mirroring effect at any time without permanently altering the original mesh. You can choose which axis to mirror along, allowing for flexibility in creating different types of symmetry. The clipping option prevents vertices from crossing the mirror plane, ensuring a clean and seamless connection between the original and mirrored parts. Mirror object. It has the ability to use another object as the mirror center. This gives the user more control over the location of the mirror plane. Efficiency. The mirror modifier is a huge time saver for modeling anything that has symmetrical features, from characters and vehicles to architectural elements. In essence, it's a fundamental tool in Blender for efficient and precise symmetrical modeling. Number 5. Solidify. The Solidify modifier in Blender is a tool that adds thickness to a mesh, effectively turning a 2D surface into a 3D object with volume. The primary function of the Solidify modifier is to create a solid, thickened version of your mesh. It does this by extruding the faces of the mesh along their normals, creating an inner or outer shell. You can precisely control the thickness of the added shell using the thickness parameter. The offset parameter allows you to define if the thickness is added inwards, outwards, or both. Even thickness. It attempts to maintain an even thickness throughout the mesh. Even on complex surfaces, the Solidify modifier is widely used for creating walls, shells, and other solid objects from thin surfaces, adding thickness to clothing or other thin meshes, creating the effect of depth or volume in 2D objects. In short, the Solidify modifier is a valuable tool for quickly and easily adding thickness to your 3D models in Blender. We're halfway there, and if you're finding this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more crazy 3D official content. Also, let me know in the comments what your favorite Blender modifiers so far are. I'd love to hear from you. Moving on, number 6. Subdivision Surface Modifier. The Subdivision Surface Modifier, often shortened to Subsurf, is a fundamental tool in Blender for smoothing and increasing the resolution of your 3D meshes. The Subsurf modifier works by subdividing the faces of your mesh, adding new vertices and edges, and then smoothing the resulting surface. This creates a smoother, more organic appearance, especially for low-poly models. By subdividing the mesh, the modifier effectively increases its resolution, resulting in a more detailed surface. Levels of subdivision. You can control the level of subdivision using the Levels viewport and Levels render settings. Higher levels result in smoother and more detailed surfaces, but also increase the polygon count. Like most modifiers, the Subsurf modifier is non-destructive, allowing you to adjust or remove it at any time. Things to be aware of. Increased polygon count. Subdivision dramatically increases the polygon count of your mesh. This can impact performance, especially in complex scenes or on lower-end computers. Shading issues. If your original mesh has poor topology, e.g. n-gons, overlapping vertices, the Subsurf modifier can exacerbate these issues, leading to shading artifacts. Control over shape. While the Subsurf modifier smooths the mesh, it can also soften sharp edges and change the overall shape. To maintain sharp edges, you can use edge loops, crease weights, or the Bevel modifier in conjunction with the Subsurf modifier. Performance. High levels of subdivision can dramatically slow down your viewport. Use only the subdivision levels that are needed. Topology importance. Subdivision Surface Modifier really shows the flaws in bad topology. Triangles and n-gons can really make a mess when subdivided. Quads are best. In essence, the Subdivision Surface Modifier is a powerful tool for creating smooth and detailed 3D models. However, it's important to use it judiciously and to be aware of its potential impact on performance and topology. Number 7. Curves Modifier. The Curve modifier in Blender is a powerful tool that allows you to deform a mesh along the shape of a curve object. The primary function of the Curve modifier is to bend, twist, and shape a mesh by making it follow the path of a curve. This is incredibly useful for creating things like ropes, pipes, roads, and other objects that follow a specific path. You can control the deformation by adjusting the shape and control points of the curve object. You can control the axis in which the object follows the curve. Curves can be animated, allowing you to create dynamic deformations over time. The resolution of the curve, the number of control points, affects the smoothness of the deformation. A low-resolution curve can result in a jagged or blocky deformation. The orientation of your mesh relative to the curve is crucial. If the mesh is not properly aligned, the deformation may not produce the desired result. Mesh density. The density of the mesh along the axis that the curve modifier is deforming is also very important. If the mesh does not have enough subdivisions, it will not deform smoothly. The origin point of the curve is important because the object will be deformed relative to that origin. Depending on the shape of the curve and the length of the mesh, the deformation can result in stretching or distortion of the mesh. Axis alignment. It's crucial to ensure the mesh and curve are aligned along the correct axis. Mismatched axes will lead to unexpected deformations. In essence, the Curve modifier is a versatile tool for creating complex and dynamic deformations in Blender. However, it's important to understand how the curve and mesh interact to achieve the desired results. Number 8. Lattice Modifier. The Lattice modifier in Blender is a powerful deformation tool that allows you to manipulate the shape of a mesh indirectly using a lattice object as a control cage. Instead of directly manipulating the vertices of a mesh, you deform a lattice object that surrounds it. The mesh then follows the deformations of the lattice, allowing for smooth and controlled shape changes. The lattice acts as a control cage, providing a simplified way to manipulate complex meshes. By adjusting the control points of the lattice, you can create a wide range of deformations. Like most Blender modifiers, the Lattice modifier is non-destructive, meaning you can adjust or remove it at any time. The lattice provides a way to create smooth and organic deformations, especially for complex shapes. Lattice points can be animated, which allows for very interesting deformations over time. Lattices are often used in character animation to create subtle deformations, such as muscle movement or facial expressions. Shape manipulation. They can be used to quickly and easily manipulate the overall shape of objects, such as bending or twisting them. Architectural modeling. For bending walls or deforming complex architectural structures. In essence, the Lattice modifier provides a flexible and efficient way to deform meshes in Blender, offering a high degree of control and non-destructive editing. Number 9. Simple Deform. The Simple Deform modifier in Blender is a versatile tool that allows you to apply basic but powerful deformations to your meshes. It's designed for quick and easy shape manipulation. The Simple Deform modifier provides 4 main deformation types. Bend bends the mesh along a specified axis. Twist twists the mesh around a specified axis. Taper tapers the mesh along a specified axis. Stretch stretches the mesh along a specified axis. You can control the axis along which the deformation is applied, giving you flexibility in shaping your objects. The modifier allows you to control the amount of deformation using angle or factor values. Origin control. The origin of the object has a great effect on how the Simple Deform modifier works. Quick shape changes. It's ideal for making quick and easy shape changes to your models. Creating curved objects. The bend deformation is useful for creating curved surfaces, such as pipes or arches. Adding twists and tapers. The twist and taper deformations are great for adding interesting shapes to objects, such as creating twisted columns or tapered cones. Animation. The values of the Simple Deform modifier can be animated. In summary, the Simple Deform modifier is a valuable tool for quickly and easily applying basic deformations to your 3D models in Blender. Last one, number 10. Shrinkwrap modifier. This is a personal favorite. The Shrinkwrap modifier lets you essentially wrap one object onto the surface of another, making it adhere perfectly without altering the target's geometry. I find it invaluable for adding floating details to objects with complex topologies, where manually integrating those details would inevitably mess up the existing, carefully crafted mesh. Imagine you have a beautifully sculpted character, and you want to add intricate armor pieces. Instead of painstakingly retopologizing the armor to match the character's form, you can simply create the armor as separate meshes and use Shrinkwrap to conform them to the character's surface. It's a real time saver and keeps your base mesh clean and pristine. Now, while each of these modifiers boasts impressive capabilities on its own, it's the synergistic combination of them that truly unlocks Blender's potential. Think of it like this. A single instrument can produce beautiful music, but an orchestra creates a symphony. By layering and tweaking these modifiers, you can achieve results far beyond what any individual tool could offer. That's where the real power lies, in the creative interplay between these seemingly simple functions. Let's explore a few examples of the powerful combinations you can create. That's just a glimpse of the awesomeness that comes from combining these modifiers. But do keep in mind, this list isn't ranked based on any particular criteria. It's simply a way to organize and structure this video. In future episodes, I plan to delve deeper into each modifier, exploring all their settings and nuances. So be sure to leave your comments down below with any specific modifier requests. If you found this video helpful, please don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. See you in the next episode. Crazy signing out. And keep on blending.